Welcome to the 5th day of these World Championships. I wish I could say a sunny welcome, but the umbrellas are out and the temperature has dropped to 15 degrees centigrade. It's dropped from 85 degrees Fahrenheit to 55 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's a pity because it's the first event in the decathlon, 10 events spread over 2 days, and we're seeing heat 3 of the 100 meters. The athletes are seeded. There'll be the best athletes will go into heat 4, but that's the Soviet athlete, Degtyarev. 2 Soviets in this. 816 is Degtyarev. Nevsky wears 842. It's a good pole, 2 very good East Germans, and that's who we're watching now. It's the Soviet athlete on the right and Degtyarev, or Torsten Voss on the left, who's coming into it. The young man who held the junior world record hits the tape first, and it was Degtyarev who was second. And Torsten Voss's time, 10.69, the fastest, 10.7, the fastest of the championships so far. All these athletes racing against points. Now there's the world record holder from West Germany, Jürgen Hinksen. The Swiss leans across to Stefan Nicholas to congratulate him and wish him luck. And the big challenge is really not so much between this man, Uwe Freimut, but Daley Thompson and this man, Siegfried Wentz, who wears 308. Here's Daley Thompson, that's the Russian there, Akhapkin. But Daley Thompson, the man who has been injured of late, but is the Olympic champion, the Commonwealth champion, and the European champion. He took over the world record from that man, Guido Kratschmer of West Germany, and since then the very big, tall West German Jürgen Hinksen has taken that record back. So Thompson, recovering from injury, anxious to get it back. Really, he's the fastest sprinter there, and look at him flowing now. Daley Thompson of Great Britain getting away. Jürgen Hinksen trying to get up. Siegfried Wentz of West Germany. Guido Kratschmer, they're all failed. Stefan Nicholas was in fact the second, and that is now the fastest time, 10.62, and that will score Daley Thompson 906 points. There's Voss's score, 882 for 10.69. Degtyarev, and these points on the right-hand side, all from the international scoring tables against which each of these events is judged. There's Thompson's score, 906. He's the top after the first event. Niklaus, 882 for 10.69. And that's the same as Voss of East Germany. Kratschmer, the former world record holder, further down in 4th. 10.86, getting 839 points. Now for the long jump. Voss, now 23, but he is the junior world record holder, still holds it. Torsten Voss, who sprinted well, now in the long jump. Behind the board, that means it's a safe jump and he gets a white flag. He sails away. Remember, these athletes have to conserve and ration their energy over 2 days. It's such a grueling event that even if they start off as enemies, they finish up as friends. And so it should be. 7 meters and 48 centimeters, 24 feet 6.5. That's for Voss, and he gets 917 points for that. Now here's the West German, 6 feet 7 of him. He's actually the German long jump champion. And that's a fine jump. You can see how much nearer the 8 meters mark he is on the board. Jürgen Hinksen, who did 10.95 for 100 meters, now does 7 meters and 75 centimeters. Big cheer for him as he scores 971 points. And here's the response from Daley Thompson, the fastest man in the 100. And he's a good long jumper, but he is injured and he's worried about this event. Fine jump from Thompson. And one wonders whether Jürgen Hinksen is watching that. There's the wind gauge in the foreground. It's miserable conditions. It's starting to rain. And Thompson, 7 meters 88. And he scores number 1 in that, 996 points. Here's Guido Kratschmer, a former world record holder. The West Germans have a very, very high standard in the decathlon, the Zehnkampf as it is to them. Oh, well, Guido Kratchmer, a little heavier. He's about 15 stones, just over 6 feet. Charming fellow, I have to say. Guido Kratchmer way back, I think that looked about 7:20. And there at the end of 2 events, you can see that Daley Thompson has a lead over Voss of East Germany and the world record holder from West Germany, Jürgen Hinkson, back in third. 1,902 points to 1,799 points, 1,788. The next discipline in the decathlon after the 100 meters and long jump is the shot. Daley Thompson, nowhere near as big as Kratchmer or even the world record holder Jürgen Hinkson. But a competent shot putter. And that's a fine put. Now for Thompson, he's rarely been over 15 meters in actual decathlons, although in training he's been over that. And I think he'll settle for that. That looked about 15 meters 30. And a big smile on his face for the first time. 15 meters 35, a further 809 points. That's over 50 feet in the shot. Now for Torsten Voss. Remember, he was the second fastest man of the 100. His long jump was 7:48. Oh, but he's just over 14 meters rather than just over 15 meters. So he'll drop back a little bit, and Daley Thompson will gain more points on him. Checking the scoreboard. 14 meters and 12 centimeters, 736 points. Now, the man who Daley Thompson calls Hollywood Hinkson, because he spends a lot of time in California, and he'd like to have a future in the movie industry. Giant of a man and a magnificent all-round athlete. Oh, and that's long. The longest of the shot putters, I'm sure. And he'll earn a few points back on Daley Thompson with that. Daley Thompson, who's out in front of him, has a look at the scoreboard to see himself in slow motion. And it's the longest put, 15 meters, 66 centimeters, 827 points. Now Guido Kratchmer. Big man, should be good at the shot. Tended to drop his elbow and lob it a little. No, it's not as good as he would have wished. Kratchmer, not over 15 meters. Looking a little unhappy as the rain comes down. Try to keep dry in those little tents. 14 meters and 99 centimeters. That scores him 788 points. And after 3 events, that's Thompson's lead. 2001, 2,711. Hinkson, 2,615. And he's getting away as Thompson from Hinkson. And he must be well satisfied. 38 walkers about to step out on the 50-kilometer walk. That's just about 31 miles. And we'll be looking at the favorites who will be wearing, oh, the red and green of Spain, the red of the Soviet Union. They're wearing 827, Sergey Jung. We'll be looking for the Mexicans too, who have a great reputation in the 50-kilometer walk. They have a couple of laps to do in the stadium, and then they depart on the roads. East Germans too, very strong. And a big cheer from this packed stadium, despite the fact it's now raining hard, which is why some of them are wearing those hats. They were hoping they would be sun hats. Look at the 3 Soviet walkers in the middle there, and suddenly the 2 Mexicans in white and green. Mexico with a tremendous tradition in walking ever since they staged the Olympic Games. It was one of their gold medals in 1968. Mexico have Martin Bermudez, Felix Gomez, and Raul Gonzalez walking for them, and all 3 of them are very experienced indeed. Away they go. Their problem is, as they get better as athletes and faster as walkers, is to maintain the rule of walking in that one foot must remain in contact with the ground throughout. There must be no daylight. And it's difficult for the judges to spot that as they walk away. And there is a feeling within the International Amateur Athletic Federation that these men have difficulty keeping up with them. Now for the 200 meters, we're into round 2. There's Mariama of Finland in lane 1, Georgieva of Bulgaria in 2, Catherine Cook of Great Britain in 3, Mo of Korea in 4, Sokolova of Czechoslovakia in 5, Grun of Uruguay in 7, Kazier of France in 8, and Kasperczyk of Poland right on the outside, who's gone off brilliantly. And the tall British girl, she's nearly 6 feet tall, Cathy Cook, in lane 3, the United Kingdom champion, getting away from that tiny little girl, Nadezhda Georgieva, inside her, but only just getting away, and it's a fine run. Kasperczyk on the outside is coming up very hard indeed. I think Catherine Cook's going to get there first. She does. The Polish girl is second. Over on the far side is Mariama of Finland. Have a very big cheer for her, the 27-year-old Finnish champion. And then Georgieva, the smallest girl in the race, finishing 4th. Cathy Cook's time, 22.76.78. Kasperczyk in 2nd, then Mariama and Georgieva, and those 4 go through to the semi-finals. Now for the second round, heat 3. Sandra Whittaker, Evelyn Farrell, Angela Bailey of Canada, Rufina Uba of Nigeria, then Pauline Davis of the Bahamas, Merlin Ottey, the favourite, in lane 6 from Jamaica, Florence Griffith from the United States, who's very strong, and on the outside, Marisa Musula of Italy. On the inside, Sandra Whittaker of Great Britain being dropped just a little bit. Angela Bailey running well for Canada. Merlin Ottey, though. Merlin Ottey in the green and gold of Jamaica coming away with Florence Griffith, another tall, elegant girl outside her. These two will get to the line first, and they're well ahead of the rest as Angela Bailey of Canada comes up in 3rd, and maybe it was the Italian girl in 4th. Those two having a very good race for the line. Merlin Ottey, who's the national collegiate champion, from Florence Griffith, 22.38. Faster time and a very good time. Musulu of Italy confirmed in 4th. They will go into the semi-final. The other 4 fail to make it. Now, Randy Givens of the United States, Buala of Papua New Guinea, Joan Baptiste, good Russian girl, Vinogradova, then Ruperta Charles, Lilian Gachet of France, the Swedish girl Lina Molle, and the world record holder Marita Koch drawn on the outside. And this really should be an easy stroll for her. Marita Koch in the blue and white, who's really not doing awful lot at the moment, because it's Joan Baptiste from Great Britain in the white of Great Britain coming away very strongly, and Lilian Gachet of France. But suddenly Marita Koch, the Olympic champion and world record holder, strolls to the line, seems to have another gear to find in her equipment. She really is the world's, she was nominated as the world's outstanding athlete last year. There's her time, 23.03, and she seemed to be very easy. Joan Baptiste of Great Britain in 2nd, Gachet of France in 3rd, Givens of the United States in 4th, and they will go into the semi-final. Now for the men. Schneider of Chile in lane 1, Calvin Smith, world record holder for 100 meters in 2, Busama of France in 3, Alan Wells, the Olympic 100 meter champion, in lane 4, Hedis of Spain in 5, Da Silva of Brazil in lane 6, Haley of Guyana in 7, and Chang of Korea in lane 8. Everybody looking for Calvin Smith, who can run a brilliant bend. There he is in lane 2, the American flying now, getting ahead of Busama of France and catching up on Alan Wells of Great Britain. But Alan Wells comes again, and Alan Wells has Da Silva outside him in yellow, the American inside him. Alan Wells checks to see that all is well. Calvin Smith first to the line, the Brazilian is second to the line, then Alan Wells from Great Britain, and Jean-Jacques Busama of France is 4th. And still the rain continues, but look how easy Calvin Smith of the United States of America made that look in 20.60 from Da Silva in 20.65. Again, it's the first 4 that go forward to the semi-finals. Now for heat 2. Great Britain's Cameron Sharp in 1, Niam Barney of Kenya in 2, Narracott of Australia in 3, Williams of Canada in 4, Manzokiri of Zimbabwe in 5, Simeonata of Italy in 6, Diallo of Senegal in 7, and Patrick Barr of France in lane 8. First to show, Desai Williams of Canada, I think, in red. In the inside, Cameron Sharp comes off well. Paul Naricot, the Australian champion. Now, suddenly, Diallo of Senegal beginning to make a run, and Carlo Simiati it is that gets to the line first. The Italian left it late. He's already had a silver medal in the relay. There he is, wearing 482. He got ahead of Desai Williams with Diallo and Cameron Sharp filling the first 4 places. The time 20.75 for the winner. Again, the 200-meter sprinters are on their lines. Reed of Jamaica in 1, Ritzi of West Germany in 2, Sokolov of the Soviet Union in 3, Naj of Hungary in 4, Braithwaite of Trinidad in 5, Emmelman of East Germany in 6, Mahon of Canada in 7, and Egbunike of Nigeria out in lane 8. On the inside, Leroy Reed, the 20-year-old Jamaican, is running world. And then look at Frank Emmelman. Again, the East Germans have provided another class sprinter. Sergey Sokolov of the Soviet Union looks as though he's going to be 3rd, and it's going to be Emmelman at the line, and Egbunike of Nigeria came through very fast at the end. It was Emmelman, then Reed of Jamaica, then Egbunike and Sokolov, at the time of the winner, 20.78. No room for the other 4 in the semi-finals. Now the Americans have Quo on the inside lane, Muravyov of the Soviet Union in 2, Luke Watson of Great Britain in 3, Jokel of Austria in 4, Daly of Panama in 5, and the Olympic champion Manea of Italy in 6, Hodge of the Virgin Islands in 7, and Bruce Frayne, the Australian champion, right on the outside. I think everyone's anxious to see what Manea can do against the best Americans, and Manea in the blue and white of Italy doing well. The best American, Elliot Quao, dropping back as Muravyov leads him to the line and leads him convincingly. And now Manea overtakes him, and on the line I think it's Manea from Muravyov, and then Elliot Quo, who was born in the Virgin Islands but runs for the United States of America, is the national collegiate champion. And there's Pietro Manea hardly exerting himself to run to the line in 20.68. Frayne had the 4th place, no chance to go further forward for Luke Watson of Great Britain or the others below him. We're looking out onto the walking course. This is about the halfway mark, 15.5 miles, 25 kilometers, and it'll be interesting to see who's made that turning point. It looks like a Mexican. It looks like one of the two of the Mexicans are up there, and an East German and a Russian. By their vests, let's have a look at their numbers as they come up. It looks like Bermudez, Gonzalez leading Bermudez, Gonzalez and Bermudez up there, and then we've got Dorosik of the Soviet Union and Weigel, the most experienced East German, wearing 387 and the white cap of East Germany. So Mexico, the Soviet Union, and East Germany. They're the first 4, and they've broken away from the rest of the field and have a considerable lead. The rain pattering down quite heavily, but these walkers will appreciate it. They want to remain cool, and the temperatures of recent days of 83 degrees will not suit them. There it is, Gonzalez, Bermudez, Dorovosk, and Weigel. And there's the chasing group, and they've a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do indeed. Looks like one of the poles there in the chasing group. 25 kilometers gone, 25 to go. The final of the shot put for women. Some rather large Stentorian ladies in this final, but they're vastly entertaining, and we're looking at the reigning Olympic champion, Ilona Slupaniek, who has been the European champion in 1978 and 1982, and is the reigning Olympic champion. She's a nursery school teacher. She was once banned from international competition for using drugs and reinstated after 18 months suspension. very quick across that 7-foot circle, and that 8-pound 13-ounce shot looking rather like a golf ball nestling in her neck. 26 years of age. Just checking out how far it's gone. 20 meters and 56 centimeters, 67 feet 5.5. Her opening round. Now this is her fellow countrywoman, Helma Knorscheidt, also 26, has always been very much in the shadow of Slupaniek. Has always been the number 2. She too very quick indeed. Oh, and that looks about as far. Knorscheidt, who was 6th in the European Championships, to Slupaniek, who was the victor. She too checking the board. 20 meters 70 to take the lead. 67 feet 11. This is Lizovskaya. You can see her first round put up there of 1953. And the Russians now chasing the East Germans, who are in 1 on 2. Big yell from her. White flag. 20 meters 70 leads. Holding her arm a little. 20 meters and 2 centimeters. That improves her. There she is, Lizovskaya in 3rd place after 3 rounds. Fibingerova of Czechoslovakia, one of the favorites, down in 4th, but the East Germans lingering at the top there, 1 and 2. Surprisingly, it's Slupaniek that's 2nd, and Knorscheidt is 1st. Now this is the girl down in 8th place, surprisingly, for the Soviet girl. Abashidze. Nua Abashidze, 28 years of age, 4th in the Olympic Games and 3rd in the European Championship. Oh, and is that better? I think it must be, because she's been down in the 19 meters, 1868 she had on her first one, and perhaps this Russian girl, who was strongly favored to do better than the 9th place she's in at the moment, will have improved her lot. 20 meters 55, and she bumps herself up to 3rd place quickly. 20 meters and 55, very much better. Now this girl's had a marvelous series. In 5th place, look, very steady stuff, but Fibingerova is another of the great girl shot putters who've suffered from Slupaniek being the great champion that she is. She's now 34, she's the European indoor champion, but she's never won a major outdoor championship. Very quick. Surprisingly light on her feet, because she's one of the heaviest girls, if not the heaviest girl in the final. Just getting into her own a little more. Hardly a smile, but improved, I'm sure, from her first 4th round. Yes, 20 meters 30. She's put herself up into 4th place, but no medals at the moment. 20 meters 30. 5 rounds. She's got one last throw, and it's the final throw of the competition. And she's really had a fairly depressing time. In 4th place, because she's beaten all the other girls except Slupaniek in the past. She's always been consistently over 21 meters rather than 20 meters, and it's the last put of the competition. Oh, I think she caught hold of... Oh, that's very long. That is very long, and she realizes it. It's the longest in the competition, and she snatched the gold medal on her final throw. Helena Fibingerova is the world champion. 21 meters and 5 centimeters, the only girl over 21 meters, 69 feet and 3/4 of an inch. And I think the tears are beginning to flow. She cannot quite believe it. The last throw of the competition, and not just a major championship, the world championship. Helena Fibingerova beats the 2 East German girls, Slupaniek That's the lowest she's been in a major competition for the last 5 years. And no medals for the Russian girls, and that's a surprise. Well, there's a clear leader in the walk now at 44 kilometers, 6 kilometers to go. This is Ronald Weigel of the German Democratic Republic. A most experienced walker, always one of the favorites. He's broken away from the group, and in fact the Mexicans have dropped right back. They've been overtaken by others on the course, and the last we saw of the walkers out on the course, it was a Spaniard, Jose Marin, the European champion, who was in second place, but he's a good way back. Ronald Weigel's lead is a substantial one, and with only 6 kilometers to go, it looks as though he could become the world champion. Quite a few supporters out on the route. Now remember, this is an out and back course, and he's overtaking some of the tail enders now. That's not a leader out in the front of him. They go out and back from the Olympic Stadium around the training areas on a network of paths, and they go around 3 or 4 times, and he's overtaking one of the tail enders now and stamping his authority on this 50-kilometer walk. You can see it's a long lead that Weigel has. A chance to see the 3,000 meters steeplechase final. Tommy Ekblom there getting a lot of cheers because he's the Finn, of course, and there's a lot of very good men in this. Meltzer of East Germany, Ramon Spain, Scartazzini of Italy, Henry Marsh of America, Courier of Kenya, Fell of Great Britain, Mahmoud of France, Reitz of Great Britain. That means they've got 3 finalists there. And we see the athletes with 5 laps to go. Ekblom is leading from Reitz of Great Britain. Ekblom being roared on by the crowd, showing that determined spirit which the Finns call sisu, courage of a little nation, and they really are going exceptionally well. Maminski of Poland is up there as they clear those 3-foot barriers. They're well strung out. Right at the back of that group, it's Scartazzini. Korea is about 7th or 8th. And the Finn, Tommy Ekblom, the Finn with a Swedish name, leads Reitz of Great Britain on from Maminski of Poland, Ilg of West Germany, Patriz Ilg in the red and white with a band across his chest. And we've got the Kenyan Julius Korea in red and green, and Marsh of the United States content to stay right at the back. The head waiter, they call him. He delays his charge until the very last lap, but his tactical sense must be questioned here because he's let these very good athletes get away from him. A long way to go. Reitz still second from Great Britain, having the race of his life. There's Henry Marsh grimacing as he always does. Man right at the back of the field. He's a Mormon from Brigham Young University in the United States. Tommy Ekblom, though, and the time is fast. They're on schedule for something like 8 meters 20. Reitz is there and the Kenyan is there. Maminski follows up, and the little man with the red band is Patriz Ilg, the favorite for many in this race. The East Germans following him in blue and white. Meltzer of East Germany is up there. And the race is really boiling up. You can see the Finnish flags in the background. Ekblom, Reitz, Korea. That's the 12'6" water jump. They pivot over the rail and push off, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot out. Still those 4 lead from Ilg, East Germany's Meltzer on the inside, Graham Fell of Great Britain coming up, and Dr. Roger Hackney on the inside with the bearded Scartazzini of Italy going away. And they've got less than 3 laps to go. The next time they see that sign, it will say 2. And how this crowd are enjoying Ekblom's run. They won't mind so much if he can't win the race, but he's got to show courage, the courage of a small nation, and they'll roar him on for taking on the front runner's role. Reitz of Great Britain having a very strong run. Maminski of Poland, always dangerous, the most experienced veteran of many European championships. Korea, well, he's the Kenyan champion, Born at altitude, they've always produced fine steeplechasers, really great steeplechasers. So these four, Ilg, who's got such a good sprint finish, lying in 5th place. And then the East German Meltzer and Graham Fell, the tall man, over 6 feet tall, running very wide of the East German, and the little West German finds room for himself. And Henry Marsh, the American, has joined into the center of the pack, so he clearly wants to make up some ground. It's the Spaniard that's hanging back, Domingo Ramon. Still Ekblom leads. Next time they come around, they'll hear the bell. It will be relief for them. It's been raining hard on them. There's a lot of wind out there, and it's been a fast pace. Reitz, also 6 feet tall, from London in England, on the shoulder of Ekblom. Ilg now in 3rd. Maminski of Poland in 4th. Correa of Kenya in 5th, and Scardezzini beginning to show. The tall Italian in blue coming up on the outside. The Kenyan drops back. Roger Hackney of Great Britain and Graham Fell drawn almost together in 6 or 7. Scardezzini makes a break for the Italians. Ilg goes onto his shoulder and comes past him, gets himself out of trouble. And Scardezzini brushes him aside and attacks again. Still, Colin Reitz of Great Britain crosses that hurdle in 2nd or 3rd, and they're beginning to scatter, and Henry Marsh has come up with the pack and is obviously running for a medal. Scardezzini leads. Ilg is in 2nd. Then we've got Henry Marsh going away, and Reitz is still in there, going around wide and looking for a place, going after the pole. Boguslaw Maminski in the red shorts, but suddenly Ilg of West Germany has broken away. Maminski chases him hard. The pole gets after him, and Henry Marsh has gone into 3rd as Reitz of Great Britain has gone into 4th, and Scardezzini can't respond to the pace, and it looks as though the medal is going to be shared between these four somehow. Ilg of West Germany, 1 water jump and 1 hurdle to come. They take it cleanly, no problems there. Reitz is in the hunt, but he's back in 4th. It really will be a sprint for the last obstacle, and then it looks like Ilg has got it. Marsh has gone over. Marsh has tippled over, and that's a tragedy because he's lost a medal as Ilg of West Germany goes for the line. Maminski is 2nd, Reitz of Great Britain is 3rd, and there are no medals for the American Henry Marsh, who toppled over. But the new world champion is Patriz Ilg. 8:15.06, a very fast time. Watch this as Marsh drives himself, gets himself crossed. He took off far too near the barrier and tumbled over, and the rest come rushing by. Maminski slightly put off, gets the silver. Colin Reitz also slightly put off, but manages to avoid Henry Marsh. There he is, the Mormon who served as a missionary in Brazil. And the medal, World Championship title, goes to Patriz Ilg of West Germany. What a thrill for him and for the crowd. Ilg confirmed as the winner. West Germany have a title, Maminski, and look at that. Henry Marsh can do no better than pick himself up and finish in 8th, and still a fast time, 8 meters 20.45. Out of the road, Ronald Weigel has broken away, and he really is enjoying this walk. He's coming into the stadium, and he'll get a very warm reception indeed, because the Finns enjoy their walking. The rain pattering down, as in the marathon. He's allowed to sponge himself and take on water, and I'm certain that he will have done that, because although it's much cooler, about 53 degrees, much cooler than of late, and it's raining hard, he still needs to take in a lot of water, because he'll be perspiring very freely. There he comes out into the daylight through this tunnel, and the crowd will see him and will roar him on his way. They know that he's been out for well over 3.5 hours. It's the longest race in the athletic program, longer than the marathon itself. 50 kilometers, 31 miles, and East Germany on their way to another World Championship and gold medal. The time will be fast. There are no world records for this event, only world's fastest times, because the courses differ and the gradients differ on the roads that they choose to walk over. But Weigel has vast experience. The East Germans make this an important event, and there are many, many good walkers and promising walkers to come up and fill their place. No other walker in the stadium as yet, none in sight. Weigel taking the plaudits of this crowd, and they're richly deserved. Up to the line. And what relief there'll be for those tired legs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He crosses the line, 3 hours, 43 minutes, 7 seconds, breaks into a trot. And there is the world champion, Ronald Weigel, for East Germany. And still the second man not home. Here he is coming into sight. Jose Marin of Spain, a European champion who enjoys both the walks. The two walks are 20 kilometers and 50 kilometers. And very shortly he'll be going through the darkness of that tunnel, emerging into the light to the cheers of the crowd. And the walking fraternity assure me that these weather conditions absolutely perfect for the long walk and for marathons. They don't like it too hot, and they will have enjoyed this, even though it's taken them 3 3/4 hours. A dark, cool tunnel. And he puts a little spurt on as he receives the applause. Another vastly entertaining day in this Olympic stadium, packed full of incident, packed full of good track and field athletics, a true world championship. The officials waiting at the finish line for Jose Marin, and the victor waiting to greet him on the line. Another great fraternity, the walkers. When you're out on the road for 3 3/4 hours together, you tend to breed fraternal relationships. They travel around the world. The great Lugano Cup, and of course these walks held in the major championships, like the European Championships and the Olympic Games. Little Jose Marin, the second up to the line, and the third man's in sight, Ayung of the Soviet Union. So those Mexicans who set out so well and who led at the halfway stage are going to be disappointed. No medals for them. The Finns who remember the Helsinki Olympic Games of 1952 will remember there was a great deal of controversy in the 10-kilometer track race, where two men heading for the line almost ran the last 20 meters, and the judge couldn't catch up with them to disqualify them. There you are. Weigel of East Germany is the winner. Marin of Spain in second, and the bronze medal goes to the Soviet Union. And some big names behind them. The final event for the decathletes on day one is a grueling 400 meters. The leader is Daley Thompson after 4 events, 3,593. Jürgen Hinkson, the reigning world record holder, 3,472. Torsten Voss of East Germany, 3,417. So this is an event that matters greatly. Acharpin of the Soviet Union on the inside. Wentz of West Germany in lane 2, and then we've got the very tall West German, Hinkson, and Thompson drawn outside. Now Thompson has a great reputation for 400-meter running, but one wonders whether his injuries have delayed his training, but he set off at a tremendous rate, and all eyes are on Daley Thompson now. The tall West German chasing him hard. Siegfried Wentz and Jürgen Hinkson trying to close up the gap. Kretschmer is outside Thompson, but Thompson determined to get the greatest authority and the greatest advantage from this first day. by amassing the biggest total of points that he can. He knows that he's got a grim day tomorrow because the tall West German is better at both of the throws. So he comes off the bend the better, but I think the Germans are closing, and Siggy Vence is closing, and so is the Swiss Niklas, and that means that Thompson's in trouble, and in fact they're going to cross the line together, and that is extraordinary because Daley Thompson would have expected to have run much faster than the 48.08 that he's run there. Clearly he's been lacking training. He didn't like the weather conditions, but he still finishes ahead with 4,486 points at the end of day one from Jürgen Hinkson, who's made up some of the gap, 4,366. Into the final stages of the 5,000 meters first semi-final. That's the lane order as they started out. Padilla of the United States, one of the favorites to win this. He wears 907. Marcus Reifel of Switzerland, 216. Look out for Kipkoech of Kenya. Philippou of Greece, Schildhauer, and it's going to be tight as the West German Wessinghager goes into second. Behind 716, Marcus Reifel. Reifel of Switzerland, West Germany, Great Britain's Julian Gotha has tucked into fourth behind the Kenyan. The Kenyan running extremely well. And it's Paul Kipkoech in third. The first 5 go through to the final, plus the 5 fastest losers from 2 semi-finals. So they've got to push the pace along and not leave it to the tail-end racers. And that's what Marcus Reifel is doing. And looking for the red shirt of Doug Padilla of the United States, the US champ. There he is, just going through the picture. There's the pole being dropped back off the pace. Reifel is pushing it around. He really is. Wessinghager is going into second. The tall East German on the bend is Schildhauer. The Kenyan is on the shoulder. As they take the bell, they've got 1 lap to go. And it really is going to be a race for the line. Reifel of Switzerland leads, Wessinghager, then Kipkoech, going extremely well. Milenik of Austria in white top and red going past the Kenyan. Schildhauer is coming up fast and is approaching the Kenyan now. Still it's Reifel of Switzerland, Wessinghager, Milenik, Kipkoech, Schildhauer and Padilla. Doug Padilla of the United States. 2, 4, 6 of them. Only 5 will go through by right, but I'm reasonably certain that all 6 will make it if they're taking the first 5, plus the 5 fastest losers. Into the tail-enders now, and it's been a good run by the Swiss. Reifel is there. Dr. Thomas Wessinghager, Dr. Tom they call him. Schildhauer will be third. Fourth is Milenik of Austria. Fifth in that run for the line was Doug Padilla, and Kipkoech of Kenya finished in 6th. 13:32.34 Reifel's time, safely into that final, and he'll be a threat there. 1 semi-final to come for that 5,000 meters. And just a couple of laps, the tall figure of Martti Vainio of Finland being cheered every step of the way. Bakush of Tunisia, Chariot of Kenya. Dmitriev wearing the hat. Interesting Russian this. They say that he exists outside the system, does his own thing. Eamon Martin of Great Britain going through, and there's some of the other numbers that are included. But it's an interesting leader, Dmitry Dmitriev. That's his name. He's 27. He was only 11th in Athens 1 year ago, but since then he's been the surprise winner of the Spartakiad, and that's why all the world wants to know what sort of form he's in. Now he's being followed up. The Irishman Coughlin is up there. The Ethiopian Wadago Bulto, the 26-year-old 1982 African champion, is in second. Eamon Coughlin tucked in there and looking good. The Portuguese at the back of that pack and easing his way through, Antonio Leitao. And of course we've still got the tall Finn. Maybe lost for a little bit of speed, But Dmitriev, this interesting Russian, leading around. Bulto, then Eamon Coghlan, one of the favourites to win. That's interesting. And the Portuguese coming up, Leitão, looking across to see who his problem men are, and they take the bell. The Italian is the man in blue, Antibo, and he's had to drop back. And it's still Coghlan and the Soviet Union athlete, Dmitriev, that get away. These two making absolutely certain now that they're going to be amongst those first 5 to make the final. Bulto on the shoulder of Leitão, and Coghlan watching the Russian, trying to test him, just going to push past to see how he gets on. Still the chasing pack, and Vainio is finished for speed. He's finding it very difficult indeed. Bulto dropped back to 4th. Leitão has moved up to 3rd, and Antibo of Italy coming up in 5th. But look at the ease with which these two cross the line. Dmitriev has a look around, so too does Eamon Coghlan, and they run to the line in 13:31.4. So maybe the 6th and 7th places will make it. That's Abramov of the Soviet Union, and Vainio of Finland might even make that final. We'll have to wait for another day to see when they're checked on the watches, but the first 5 go through by absolute right. Dmitriev, Coghlan, Leitão, Bulti, and Antibo of Italy. Abramov, Vainio, and Hill of the United States must wait to check that time to see if they line up with the other finalists. What appalling weather for the Javelin, the event which the Finns so adore. The stadium, a monument really to great javelin throwers of the past. And each of these has earned his way into the final, and you'll see that there are 2 Finns. Aho wearing 213, Utriainen wearing 242. This is Kenneth Eldebrink of Sweden. He's 6 feet 2 3/4 tall, 11th in Athens. It's about who's going to survive best in this appalling weather. Certainly there'll be a hush and a roar for every good throw. Caught it well. It sails out. It's well over 80 meters. It's about 83 meters. And that's fine throwing. Fine throwing from the Swede, who has actually thrown 90 meters. That's around 300 feet. It's 83 meters and 28 centimeters. Dainis Kula of the Soviet Union, the Olympic champion, touches the tip of the javelin on the floor before he throws. He's got a good record, and he's taken the lead with a big throw of around 85 meters. 24 now. He comes from Latvia. Dainis Kula, as his name suggests. Olympic champion and 4th in the European Championships. Confirmation that he's in the lead, and that lead is 85 meters and 58 centimeters. Now Detlef Michel of East Germany. He's a left-handed thrower. Big, strong giant of a man. East German champion who's a plumber by trade. He took the bronze medal in Athens, but he has equaled the European record. He's a mighty thrower when he's on form. A 96 meter and 72 centimeter thrower. Oh, he's caught that well. And it's way, way out. Look at that. That's near the 90 meter line, and that's surely taken the lead for East Germany. Detlef Michel, flighting that javelin so well in these appalling conditions. The one goes up, and the 88 meters and 96 centimeters, the lead. Michel again. Carries it low slung, then lays it back. Looks very casual, but he has a very strong throwing position. And again, he's near the 90 meter line. And he's putting on a fine demonstration now. He's well ahead of the man in second place, Dainis Kula. And that's even further, I think we'll see. He had 88 meters and 96 centimeters, and he's now improved that to 89 meters and 48, around about 300 feet, 293 feet 7, in fact. Here's Tom Petranoff from Northridge, California, who is the reigning world record holder. And the Finns giving him a big cheer, simply because he is the reigning world record holder. He's way back at the moment, 80 meters and 38 centimeters in the first round. Not a consistently great thrower, but capable with a very strong arm of unleashing the javelin a long, long way. His world record, an amazing 99 meters and 72 centimeters, 327 feet 2, and there aren't too many stadia in the world that are large enough to take it. It's a fine fling, but it's not enough. It's halfway between the 80-meter line and the 90-meter line. See them masking the javelins to keep them dry. As the javelin thrower has to get purchase behind that grip, and he's done 85, 60, and goes into second place. Big cheer for Olsen. Olsen from Norway. Just across the road, as it were. 25-year-old who's been throwing well. Long and linear, but very fast. Oh, and that's well over the 80-meter line. Not enough, I don't think, for a medal place at the moment. But he's improving his position all the time. Olsen, 5th place, 81.72. Now Pusti, back in 10th. Difficult to understand, for he's the Soviet record holder. Was 4th in the Olympic Games, and he was the silver medalist in Athens at the European Championships. Another Latvian, 27 years of age, way, way back at the moment. There's that grip, and within that grip is contained the center of gravity of the javelin, and the line of pull, however strong you are, has to be through that center of gravity if you're going to flight this implement, which is very carefully made to be aerodynamic, to fly on the wind if it's thrown well. Pusti then. That looks a better throw. And it's surely further than he's thrown. At last he's coming into something like his form. And he goes into 4th place with 84 meters and 56 centimeters, and that's how it is after 3 rounds. Detlef Michel way out in front. Tom Petranoff of the United States in 2nd, and still the rain patters down. 1, 2, 3, 88 plus meter throws. Michel looking a little bit rain swept now. But he's out in the lead, and his confidence must be very good indeed. Back goes the jab. Then unleashed. He stopped short of that retaining line. Oh, and again, he's threatening the 90-meter line. I think he feels confident now, and the cheers are all for him. And there's the final result. Michel, 89 meters and 48. Petranoff of the United States in 2nd. Kula of the Soviet Union in 3rd, followed by Pusti of the Soviet Union. But East Germany have a very fine day indeed, and they collect another gold medal. Fine throw. East German champion, the plumber, collects a gold medal. The European record holder, triumphant here in Helsinki.